Are the days of grabbing a cheap drink with coworkers a thing of the past? An article that caught our eye in the Wall Street Journal titled, "What Happened to Happy Hour?" takes a closer look at why a social staple of the American office culture is disappearing. The reasons cited include people still working from home post-COVID, business budgets for mandatory fun have shrunk, and everyone may be drinking less. Tonight, we're joined by one of the biggest experts on the bar industry in the United States, Jon Taffer, host and executive producer of Bar Rescue, as well as the owner of multiple bars and restaurants. Jon, thank you so much for coming on Top Story. Very excited to talk to you tonight. We know that COVID and remote work took a chunk out of the bar business for the time being. When it comes to bars and happy hour right now, what are you thinking? What is the reason?
Well, the unique thing about a bar is the socialization that happens and that human interaction that happens in a great bar. Tom, you can make that drink at home, you can make those chicken wings or whatever at home, but you can't get that social interaction. And I think that's a real loss, because when companies need to create a culture and they build what they call a team, well, that team needs to spend time together to have some connectivity. So I think the loss of these happy hours has a detrimental effect on relationships and companies. But it's a combination of a number of things. People working remotely. Obviously, alcohol consumption is down. We're seeing that certainly. Prices, I think people are a little price sensitive these days. But bars, to be successful, need to focus on the social element over the product. We don't have to have alcoholic products to have a great happy hour. We have to have a great social environment to have a great happy hour.
I love that idea. Yeah, I love that idea. I want to talk to you more about that. But you brought up so many good points here, Jon. It's why you're the maestro of this. But I want to hone in on one. You talked about people drinking less. I want to put up a poll for our viewers here. This is a Gallup poll of alcohol consumption in the U.S. It's hit a record low with just 54% of Americans saying they are drinking. Gen Z has also jumped on this trend of drinking less. What do you think the factor is for that? Do you think that's people trying to get healthier, or do you think it's also the proliferation of recreational drugs that are seen more mainstream now?
Well, we think cannabis has had an impact for sure, Tom. There's no question about it. But I think economics has had an impact, too. The price of a cocktail has gone up considerably in the past few years. But I think social concerns, health concerns, cannabis, and not spending as much time in these bars have affected it as well. And interestingly, Tom, lunch and happy hour is the same customer in a business environment, because you go to lunch from work, you go to happy hour from work. So when happy hour suffers in those markets, lunch is also suffering. You can't hurt one without affecting the other.
I was hearing from our staff today, and New York City's sort of a little bit of an anomaly because it's a big city. It's very expensive. And some of the staffers here were telling us in the city they spend $20 for a cocktail. It's expensive to drink. Are you seeing the same trends across the country, still very expensive? And is this on the bars or is this on the landlords? Are rents going up and bar owners need to charge more?
Well, you're sitting in New York. I have many friends that are restaurateurs in New York have bailed. They've left New York, saying that the only person making money in the business in New York are the landlords. So certainly that's a major, major factor. Add the cost of labor, the cost of insurance, the cost of food, the cost of beverage. We're struggling to make the profit. But, the Ozempic population provides an opportunity for restaurants to provide smaller portions and provide a better value equation. And I'm finding that, I know in my places we're going in that direction. A lot of Ozempic users, Tom, throw away 50-60% of their entree. So I'm seeing a trend of smaller entrees, lower prices to fight that value proposition. And I'm finding the same is happening with cocktails as well. Lower proof cocktails, less alcohol in the cocktail to manage cost and reduce the amount of alcohol intake.
Before you go, you brought up that great point about being social. Bars can't just be about drinking. What are sort of 3 things you advise bar owners to think about when they want to expand that social aspect?
Well, first of all, music is very, very important, right? Tempo music. People go where they relate to the music. Lighting is very important, Tom. The lower the lighting, the closer we get together, right? I have to get closer to you. The volume of music causes people to get closer together. The height of seating puts everybody's eyes within 10 inches of each other to stimulate social interaction. So floor plans, layouts, seating heights, all of these things are designed to make my eye look in somebody else's eye and create connectivity. And that's when magic happens in a bar, when people connect.
Jon, you just gave us a master class on how to own a bar. We appreciate that. Thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Good to see you.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.